This is kind of a unique spot for the camera. Is this gonna blind? Oh yeah, that blind me. So we're gonna keep this from there. For now, get some window. I need to clean my car. My car is filthy. Hopefully it doesn't fall off its spot there. We're gonna go get some. Oh, we didn't take any pre-workout. We're gonna go to the store anyways and get maybe like an energy drink, maybe a small snack for later, and then we'll do a little bit of a talk today. Today's talk will be about masculinity. Definitely an interesting topic. Masculinity, it's you can dive into a bunch of different kind of spaces where, you know, toxic masculinity, what it means to be a guy, a man, you know, there's a lot of different, but I kind of just want to talk about my own experience with it, you know, where my typical manly values originate from, and I'm not even sure manly values is the right way to put it, to be honest. It sounds very silly, but as you know, my previous videos indicate, I'm pretty into kind of fitness, which is typically, I wouldn't say fitness is, but more like kind of bodybuilding, even though I'm not like total meathead. It's definitely more of a stereotypically masculine activity to participate in. And I don't think there was any sort of like original reason why it's like, oh, I want to, you know, get strong, or, you know, whatever, have big muscles as a, you know, these little kids, like they want to look like a superhero. I don't know, but I do know that there was a sun glare, and I about just ran over this old lady. I did not see her at all. Man, gotta pay more attention on it. Anyways, growing up, I didn't have much of a father figure, maybe. I mean, more of a consistent one. Didn't really have that too much. So it definitely left a gap there where typical fatherly or manly behaviors were kind of absent. I didn't really have anyone to kind of go off of. Not that you need to copy or should copy exactly like, oh, I'm going to be just like my dad, I'm going to be just like my grandpa, you know, or my, you know, whatever male figure you have. But there was very little for me to even go off of. So my aspect of what it looks like to be a man, or, you know, how to be, you know, and in a good parts. I don't mean like, oh, you know, a man's tough, a man's doesn't cry. Like, I'm not on board with that train. Is there value in being strong and tough? Yeah, sure, but I don't think that's belonging or, you know, exclusive to masculinity. Holy cow, that sounds bright. Can I park there? No. I think there's a lot more that goes into being a man. Like, what does that exactly mean? It doesn't mean you know, being the strongest or the toughest, or not crying, not showing emotion. In fact, I think it means the opposite. All right, got my drink. It's pretty good. Tastes like carbonated orange juice, and some little gummy, what are these called? The little gummy nerds. Yeah, can't go wrong with those. All right. We're on our way to Powerhouse now. We'll move on to what should objectively be, man, what's a man supposed to do? What's his role? Is there even such thing as a role? I think that, you know, being a man or being masculine is being strong when it matters, being there for, you know, those people in your life when it matters. You know, you go through a hard time, you lose a family member, whatever, and you're there for your family. It doesn't mean that you can't feel. It doesn't mean you can't experience the emotions, and you definitely should. I think that's one of the biggest, you know, detriments to recent, you know, there's this whole, like, well, you know, you got to be a masculine man. You can't show your emotions, you know, whatever. And then there's also people who are saying, you know, no, you know, you know, feel your emotions, express how you're feeling. And I think they're both wrong, because I think it is a guy's job to be strong, be the one to, you know, in a stereotypical, not stereotypical, but like traditional sense, to, you know, kind of bring the family along, and, you know, guide them through hard times, whatever. But you also need to feel it yourself as a man, because if you just stuff it and, you know, you support everyone around you, that's unhealthy. It's not going to work. My lens is that you can feel it later. You know, your job is to be there for people. Your job is to support your family, support your friends, you know, your parents, whatever it may be, the people in your life, putting them first. And I don't want to articulate it in the sense that it's like, oh, well, so you come second? Not necessarily, but in a sense, you do. I mean, you kind of do. You are kind of second to those in your life. And it's still important to take care of yourself, and, you know, respect yourself and let yourself feel, and not stuff everything, and not, you know, people are like, oh, men can't cry. You definitely should, but there is something to be said about, you know, seeing like your father, or, you know, whatever, I say father, but whatever masculine role or man role you have in your life, seeing them cry is a very unique thing. There's people that go their whole lives without ever seeing, you know, their father cry, and I don't know that that's a good thing. I think showing, especially like if you're kids, you know, if you're a dad, or, you know, whatever. I keep using specific, you know, father, dad, grandpa, cousin, brother, what, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what role, but as a man, as a guy, I think there's times where being vulnerable like that is beneficial, especially on impressionable individuals in your life. Experiences emotions like that, and I think seeing others, you know, ideally you're not breaking down in public all the time, but, you know, seeing that humanizes people to a certain extent. But seeing somebody vulnerable, I hope would spark a sense of empathy or humanity in an individual, to understand that, man, you know, yeah, everybody's going through their shit every day. But back sidetracked, back onto the point of masculinity. Allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to be vulnerable at times, these are good things. I do not think that this idea of, you know, always be tough, never let anyone see you cry, I don't think it's effective, and I don't think it's healthy either. And I also just as strongly disagree with, you know, I've seen, typically it's women, you know, trying to give permission to men. You know, it's okay to cry. It's okay to, you know, need comfort, and that's also not all that true. Like, both are not fully true, and you have to blend them, because I'll tell you what, if you're unable to be strong, if you're unable to kind of push through things, if you're constantly confiding in others, unfortunately, a lot of the time, the respect aspect or the way they view you is going to change. Does that mean that you can never confide in your spouse, or you can never, you know, cry, or never tell them how you feel? No, absolutely not. There is a gradient that is unclear for me, and I think everybody should explore for themselves of what exactly is that gradient of somewhere in between tough guy, I don't show my emotions, you know, nothing gets to me, you'll never see me cry, you know, whatever, gruff and tough, I drive a truck and have big muscles, you know, the most stereotypical, and the total, you know, I can express myself however I want, I'm, you know, being masculine is just a concept, and, you know, I don't have to be strong, I don't have to care about, you know, my health, I, you know, don't need to lead my family, I can, you know, I'm very vulnerable with my emotions. Either one of those, if you said it to the right audience, they'd be like, yeah, that's fine. But there's a blend in the middle somewhere where where it is true, where it is real, what you should be shooting for. And I think it definitely does depend on, person to person. But I think really, if I could just, if I get like one or two sentences to say, like, what does it mean to be a man? It's not just physically, not just mentally. It's all of them. It's being able to lead, being able to push through, being able to keep going. That's what I think. Anyways, that's what I think is important, is promoting goodness into the world, respect, humility, empathy, kindness, strength. These things, you should be a model of that as a man. And I think one of my favorite quotes is, be strong enough to be gentle. Be strong enough to be gentle. If you're mentally, physically, whatever, if you're weak, you don't even have the capability to be anything but that. If you're strong in your heart, if you're strong in your head, if you're strong in your body, you get to control yourself and everything. I get to treat people kindly. I get to respect people. I can provide empathy. I can be vulnerable. And when it matters, I can stand up and I can do and I can support. That's what it means to be a man in my head.
If you fall, then I will too, into nothing ever after. Do we have to face the truth, or look away, neglect the wounds? All the warning signs we refuse to see, like a hurt